I wanted to make a different type of video today, more of an inspirational video, if you will. I put out a community post, a poll that I did there. Actually, I did two of them, and first of all, I want to thank you all for participating in those. It's so fun to be able to interact with you that way. Lots of times it's kind of lonely just talking to a camera, but when I can do polls or ask you questions, or even when you put some comments in, thank you so much also for your nice comments. It's really nice to interact with you all. So I put out a poll. The first one was, are you currently in a band? And the answers were interesting to me. Yes, and we play regularly, was about 11% of the people. Yes, but we don't play out much, was 26% of the people. And here's what's interesting. No, but I wish I was. 47% of you said that. No, I wish I was in a band. And another 16% I just did a simple nope. Nope, not in a band. So maybe you don't care to be in a band, maybe you're not in a band, but that was 16%. So if I was to do math with that real quick, we're basically looking at 63% of the people that listened or responded to this poll, I should say, aren't in a band. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But I also put out another poll, and that one was, how often are you playing along to your favorite songs or albums? 0% for every day. Once a week, about 30% of you. Once a month, 40% of you. That's great. And I never play along to songs, 30%. So here's what's interesting about this, and this is why I ask these questions. When you think about the players that you like, most likely they spend a lot of time either playing live or playing to records. And that's really how they kind of grew as a musician. There's so much that you can learn from playing along to a record that you can't learn playing to a metronome. And I'm guilty of this. I didn't do half as much as playing to records as I should have when I was growing up. And I really think that is a detriment to my playing. For one thing, I'm not a very good groove player. Like, my rhythm isn't that tight. And the groove doesn't kind of live between the metronome clicks, right? It kind of lives with the band, and the whole organism's kind of pulsating and keeping that time. So there's just one simple example that I can think of. And I do believe when you play in front of people, your mind goes into a different space. It helps you focus more on what you're doing instead of just playing in your room to nobody. And I'm not saying that's bad, but I'm just saying to grow as a musician, sometimes it's good to put yourself in front of other people. So on the surface, these polls may not seem like they relate to each other, but I was trying to get to something. And that is, try to put yourself in situations where you can play with other people and play in front of other people. Well, again, how would you do that if you don't have a band? Well, here's something that I thought of. You know, when I was growing up, I didn't have the technology to really play efficiently to records. I mean, I could put a record on and I could move the needle back and forth, that's how old I am, to try to learn the guitar parts. Or I could put a cassette in and I could play to those. But you know what? I didn't have the variety that you can have now. And so what do I mean by that? Well, I recently thought, you know what? I need to challenge myself and become a better player. And how can I do that? Well, I can use playlists to my advantage. We can stream any type of song now. It's really quite fascinating. And we can build our own little playlist, our own little set lists that we want to play to every single night. And treat yourself like you're in the band. If you're going to play a gig, make yourself a set list of maybe 30 to 45 minutes of songs that you like, songs that you enjoy, and maybe some stretch songs in there, right? And play to them, maybe the average time a band would play out live. Let's see, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Just play along to these things. Or if you want to be like a real band, you most likely are practicing a couple of nights a week, and then you're playing live. But you still might be saying to yourself, Joe, there's no live component to that. And that's true, but you know what you can do? You can throw on a camera, and you can record yourself. And you might be saying to yourself, well, I don't want to be any social media person. I don't want to be on YouTube or anything like that. And you don't have to be. It's just the pressure of putting your phone on and recording yourself, or even just recording yourself in your DAW. It's going to put that pressure on you that I was talking about earlier that really forces your brain to think a little bit harder about what you're playing. And you may find at first that's a little bit intimidating. Like all of a sudden you're getting second doubts about what you're playing and how you're playing because you know something's recording you or something's watching you. And that's the whole purpose of this. And I'm not saying we should take the fun out of playing to the music that we love so much, But again, it's kind of putting your mind in a different space to really focus on and really pay attention to what you're doing. And in time, that's going to make you a better musician. And in time, the more you do it, the more relaxed you're going to be about playing in front of people or playing when something's recording. This will help you because you kind of get over those initial times that something's watching or recording you, and you just get more confidence and more conviction in your playing. So again, this was something that I didn't do much as a kid. And now that we can make playlists either in Spotify or any streaming service or even on YouTube, we can again simulate playing in a band and creating our own set list. And so I just made some notes here that I want to share with you what I did to create my own set list. I first did, I picked songs of different genres of music. I thought it'd be interesting to kind of go in between maybe some soft rock songs, some funk songs, some heavy metal songs, some 80s tunes. It'd be fun just to give yourself a little bit of variety to play to. Pick some songs that are at different tempos, obviously. That's the same thing that you would do if you're putting a set list together, right? You're going to play some upbeat songs at first, kind of slow things down, maybe do some ballads, and then ramp things back up again. One thing that you might want to do that's interesting is pick songs that actually don't have any guitar in them at all. And pretend you're the 5th member in the band, or the 6th member in the band, or whatever member of the band. You're just the guitarist in the band. And they didn't happen to have a guitarist when they were recording that day. So what kind of parts can you put in? This would really help you with your creativity. You already have a structure of a song, but where do you fit in that song? And here's a little hint. You don't have to play throughout the entire song. Maybe there's just certain sections of the songs that you bring the guitar in. It's another great exercise about doing this is, especially if you're learning these songs for the first time, is you're really training your ears. It's so tempting to go ahead and go online and see what kind of tab is out there for you. But try to use your ear first to figure out the songs and write your own chord charts down for those, especially if you're not familiar with the songs at first. It'll really, again, help you grow your ear as a musician, and that'll help you if you really were in a band situation and someone throws out a song that you may not have heard before or you just vaguely know, and you kind of start listening for the changes. If you're unsure of what to play at first, just copy one of the other instruments. It doesn't have to be the same guitar part or a guitar part that's in the song. Maybe copy the bass line or copy the keyboard line that you hear. Maybe just even do scratching a percussion sound. Just to play along and have fun in any capacity that you can. Again, this is not supposed to be a stressful exercise. It's supposed to be a fun exercise. For my playlist, I also picked songs that had different degrees of difficulty. Some easy songs, some hard songs, and some in between. This again is to help stretch me as a player. You know, it's one thing to play an easy song all the time, which is great. You can focus in on other things, right? You can focus in on the groove and really making sure you're locking in with the drummer. But sometimes it's nice to stretch yourself a little bit and push yourself in a direction that maybe a guitar part that you haven't played before just feels a little bit uncomfortable underneath your fingers. But over time, because you're going to do this on a regular basis, you're really going to get used to it. So I try to, again, pick songs that had different degrees of difficulty in them. And if you come across a part of the song that you really like, that there's something magical about it, something that resonates with you as an artist, take time to analyze what's happening. Why do you like that? Why does that guitar lick sound awesome over those chords? Or what is he playing or she playing in that section of the song that really just tugs at my heartstrings? Man, that's corny. But really, what makes you feel that part of the music? Were they playing with certain type of vibrato? Were they using dynamics when they were playing that line? Really, what drew you into that part of the song that really makes you feel like, wow, that's something special? And then learn it and try to duplicate that. You're never going to sound exactly like the same person because you're not that person. But if you internalize that same type of emotion, it's all going to come out in your own playing. Now, you can also take this up a notch, right? And take it to another level. And that would be kind of tone matching and tone chasing certain songs. Now, I'm not encouraging you to go out and buy 3,000 different pedals and amps and guitars. Use what you have. Or even use something that's in your DAW that can simulate other effects or other amps. But do your best to kind of use your ear to also try to match those guitar sounds, especially the tones that you really like. Listen with intent to say, hey, is there anything on this guitar? Is there a chorus sound? Is there a flanger sound? Is there a phaser sound? Is there a tremolo on this guitar part? How is the song arranged? Where do the guitar parts come in and out? How are they panned in the mix? Are they hard left and hard right? I mean, this The possibilities of this is endless, really it is. But the first step to all this is, you gotta first create a playlist. And you don't have to sit there in agony and think about every single song. Just what ones pop in your head right away if I tell you, hey, what's one of your favorite songs that you might like to learn or like to play to? I'm sure something's jumping into your mind. Just start with those. Throw in a couple of those. And if you're listening to music and you're out and about and you hear something that's interesting, go home and add it to your playlist. This thing can constantly expand. You might even come to a point where, like me, let's see here, I put a lot of songs on my playlist. I have about 31 songs. I have 2 hours of playing on this thing. And again, I have every possible genre on here. You know what I'll do? I'll put it in the link in the description. I'll put a link to this playlist that I have. It's called Pretend You're in the Band is the name of the playlist on Spotify. And you'll see lots of weird stuff. I have different songs even from different decades of music in here. But again, the first step is go ahead and create yourself a playlist. Then step 2 would be go ahead and book the gig. Put it on your calendar. When are you going to practice these songs? When are you going to play through this set list? Maybe it's once, twice, or 3 times a week. And thirdly, most importantly, just have fun and enjoy the guitar. I think we're all going to grow from this because I'm going to do this too. We're all going to grow from this, and we're also going to make practice kind of fun again because it won't feel like practice. It'll just feel like we're playing in a band.